In this video, I'm going to introduce to you a little bit about MyMathLab. Now, this is an integral part of what we'll be doing this year, and you'll often do many of your homework assignments and quiz assignments using MyMathLab. Now, in order to find this website, you want to type into your address bar pearsonmylabandmastering.com. Now, that's a little bit different than what they used in the past. In the past, they used to use coursecompass.com, and a lot of those older URLs still take you to the same spot. But make sure you're typing in pearsonmylabandmastering.com for this semester, and that'll take you to the right spot. Okay, so once you type that in, you get to this page right here. Now, there's a few things you can do, but probably one of the most important, if this is your first time using it, is to go to the register button. Now, since we are students here, just go ahead and click on that student button. And then it'll start taking you through the register process. And one of the first things you'll need is actually the course ID for this class. For the course ID this semester, look below this video for what I have typed in. Usually it starts off with Smith and then has a few numbers after it. This will change every semester, so even though I'm going to use one in this video, don't assume that it is the same one, okay? Now, once you type in that course ID, you'll hit continue, and this is where you can then log in if you already have an account, or start setting up an account of your own. So if you've used MyMathLab in the past, feel free to type in your username and password, and it should take you to the proper course. However, if you've never had a MyMathLab account, then you want to go to create a Pearson account over here and just click that create button. Now, I'm not going to show you the rest of this process because it's pretty self-explanatory. You'll start entering in stuff like your email address, your username, what you want as your password, and it'll eventually take you through the entire process of creating that account. So now that this part is pretty much wrapped up, let's go ahead and get into the course on MyMathLab to see what all of that will look like. So right now I've returned back to that home screen for MyMathLab, and I'm assuming that you've already set up an account, and basically at this point you just need to log in so we can actually see the course. So here's where we're going to go to that sign in button just above where we use that register button. Okay, so when you click on that, you'll be taken to a screen where you can type in your username and your password. So I'm going to type in my particular username and, of course, my password. All right, and, of course, sign in. Now, on the next screen, you'll basically get a list of all the different courses that you are signed up with using MyMathLab. And if you've taken this before, you might actually see some older classes in there. Now, right now, of course, I teach classes, so I have lots and lots of different sections in my particular shell here. But yours will probably only have just the Math 147, or maybe a Math 147 and a couple older ones. So go ahead and click on that link for your particular class. So I'm clicking on Math 147, and then you'll actually get to see our particular layout. Now, if you've used this in the past, you'll probably notice that I've streamlined this quite a bit. I've taken out a lot of the extra buttons and a lot of the extra jargon, so you really just have the bare bones of what you need. Some of the most important things in here is probably first just this home page on here. This will give you an update on when assignments are due, as well as maybe a few announcements that come out of Course Compass. They like to sometimes do maintenance on their servers, and they'll post announcements about that probably in this area. You can also see that you'll get a heads up on where you are with your homeworks, your quizzes, your tests, and any other assignments that get entered into the gradebook. I'm going to click on this first button here that says Homework so you can see how the homework page is laid out. Now, this usually opens a new window where you get basically a layout or a list of all the different homework assignments. Now, for this first week, there's not too many, but you do have a few. Of course, make sure that your pop-ups are enabled. There we go. Now we have a list of different homework assignments. You can see after this video, one of the first homework assignments that you'll do is the one that says MyMathLab Orientation. And you basically just click on these different links to get into them. I'm going to close out of this right now. Your quizzes are actually located in a different spot. That's the next button down. When you click on quizzes, it's basically set up in much the same way. You have a list of open quizzes that you can take, and then you basically just click on those links to get into them. Now, in this section under quizzes, there's also a whole lot of sample tests. These are made by the publisher, and I don't use these as my sample test, but they can be good practice if you want to just jump in and give them a try. When we get closer to our test, I will produce my own sample test for you guys to take. One thing you want to remember when you get into these quizzes is that once you start them, you have to finish them. So make sure that you're really prepared to spend enough time on the quizzes that you can actually get them done. The next button down says Gradebook. Even though we're doing some work and we're getting lots of our lectures in Blackboard, you'll actually go into MyMathLab if you want to see where you are in the course. Now right now this is kind of empty because it shows that I haven't done any homework assignments and I haven't done any quizzes. But when you start doing homeworks and quizzes, they'll show up in this area. You can check out what the assignments are for the past 2 weeks or for the past course, and even go to that button that says Show Overall Grade to get a good overview of all the different assignments that you've done. Now, if you really want some extra practice, this next button is probably a perfect place to go, and it says Study Plan. When you click on Study Plan, it basically gives you a chapter-by-chapter breakdown of all the different sections in the book. This means if you're going through the lectures and you have a particular area that it seems is a kind of a weak spot for you, you can go zoom in on that particular section and get lots and lots of different practice questions. So here I can see, looks like a whole bunch of different chapters for the book. And I'm just going to click on Chapter 2, Functions. And I can see that if I want to know a lot about the composition of functions, like on 2.3 here, when I click on that, I can get tons of different questions just on the composition of functions. So I can go through these for practice. Now, these are completely optional. They're not part of your grade, but I do find that students who do well in the course often go into the study plan and get lots of extra help. All right, the next button down says eBook, and this is basically a great place if you've forgotten your book or you don't have it with you and you want to pull it up online. You can click on eBook and it'll take you to basically an electronic textbook that you can flip through the pages of. This is again broken down by chapter, so if you know a particular section that we're covering, you can jump into that one and just see what's there. Now that's slightly different from the last button I'll cover, the Multimedia Library. In the Multimedia Library, it does have links to the textbook, but it also has links to stuff like PowerPoints, some animations, or even videos made by the publisher. So again, if you want to know more about a particular section or something that we've covered, you can search for additional videos and animations made by the publisher. Now, a lot of stuff in MyMathLab uses certain plugins, and sometimes you might have to disable your pop-ups. And if it doesn't seem like MyMathLab is working as well as it should, you probably want to go to the very last button that says Installation Wizard. This will basically just test your computer to make sure it has all the right plugins, and if it doesn't, it'll send you to places to where you can download those plugins. So that's basically an overview of MyMathLab. Make sure you get it set up and all good and ready, because you'll need it for many more assignments to come.